Start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Want me to tell you something later? Did you get a look at the minutes? Did you look at the minutes?
Yeah.
We need an approval for the minutes for July 10th. They have been read. A motion?
Motion to approve the minutes of July the 10th, 2019.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that's unanimous. 242-1629, I'll do them both at the same time. And 1699, request to continue till August 28th.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? That's unanimous. This is 242-1671, 2302 Turnpike Street,
No,
request,
This one.
this is one here. It's pen,
Yes, it does.
request to
one's-
continue
Yes.
Oh, that one's,
Yeah.
okay, it is on mine.
to August 28th.
Okay, sorry.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that's unanimous. And 242-1428 Turnpike Street, Lot 4 and A, request to continue to August 28th.
Is that the one we just moved?
No,
No.
so moved.
No, that
So
was,
second.
Second.
All of them are being continued?
Yeah.
they were all
four
continued, all four
yep.
of them.
I thought the third one was ready to go.
This one was
Yeah.
penciled in.
No,
Okay.
It was, yeah. it was
Okay,
penciled.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay,
Just lose.
all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? And that's unanimous. First order of business is a small project, NACC 23960 Lions Way.
You don't have to copy for everyone, do you?
I think we do, yeah.
Okay, good. So anyways, I'm James. I'm James Murphy, the owner of 60 Lions Way with my wife Nancy Hoffman. And the small project under category B is that we're requesting to take the decking off the deck and the railings, and we're probably going to have to remove the stringers for the stairs, just because when they pop the boards up, the stringers will probably fall apart. The deck is 28 by 12, coming out 12 feet from the house, going 28 across. So we're just replacing the decking, not touching the footers, not touching the posts or the joists. So none of the footings will be moved, or we won't add any more footings because all the frame is in place. All the construction debris will be removed from the site and disposed of properly. There will be no potential impact to the wetlands because there's no need to bring in any heavy equipment. The materials that are brought in will be put in the driveway. There is a stone wall that separates the driveway from the woodlands, which it's deemed somewhat wet. I think it's a vernal pond, my observations over the 20 years living there. So the stone wall is a farmer-type wall. It's kind of hard to cross. There's pictures that I've included showing the stairs and the footings, so you know where they are, and so they will remain there. The next picture shows the footings and the supports that are in place, and they will not be changed. And next page shows the stone wall that separates general use of the property from the woodland area. And last is a drawing of the house and the deck and the stairs. Now, Ben Corral, is that correct? Carroll. Did come on site, look at it, measure it, and he measured that the current footing is 88 feet from where the footing is to the wetlands. And in between there is the stone wall that separates the general use from the woodland. That was put there in 2000 when the house was built to indicate that that was separate and not to be disturbed. In fact, I didn't realize that at the time. And if you went back to the records, you would see that I got notified that with a cease and desist order because I started mowing into the buffer. And the requirement then was put a stone wall in and never go there again. So I haven't and don't plan to. So I guess what we're requesting is that the replacement of the decking, the railings, and the stairs be approved as part of the permit and can be, as the person applying for the permit, the homeowner, I know that I am responsible for what the contractor does, so I will be watching what he does and not make sure he doesn't do anything. If he makes up some kind of recommendation that we have to do to change a footing or something like that, I guess I'll have to come forward and say, we had to make a change, but those footings stay where they are.
Joe, questions?
Fabulous presentation, great summary. If ever a project was a small project, this is it.
Good.
I'd only go one step further, and you kind of alluded where my mind was going, is say something unforeseen comes up, building code, maybe some of the framing is in fact needs to be replaced. I wouldn't limit you to only doing what you said. I think if you needed to replace the entire deck right down to the footings, so be it. I know that's not your intent, but
Yeah.
I would give you permission to do that.
Okay,
But I think if you do get into any digging, that we would want to know
Yes.
about it.
okay,
So I think the only comment would be, as we deliberate and issue a decision, would be to grant you that extension to allow you to do whatever, and that if you do need to move a footing, to inform staff, and then ultimately just do an inspection at the end to verify everything in the record is accurate. But good job.
okay, thank you.
Yeah, he answered myself. When you get into something like that, if the threads are worn out, then the stringers aren't too far behind.
Yeah.
So you're probably gonna end up changing the stringers anyways.
Yeah, so that's what I'm pointing on.
That's fine. So, but any questions? If you have any questions at all, call staff. Most of the stuff we do in kind anyways. You don't have to come before us and make a presentation, although that was very thorough. But I agree with Mr. Lynch that don't corral yourself, leave it open.
Okay,
And we'll allow it as an in-kind replacement.
okay,
And this way, if you run into a problem, just notify staff, and you won't have to come back before us again.
okay, very good. Thank you.
Yep.
Wonderful presentation, and I have no questions.
Doug?
Thank you.
No questions, I agree with what your comments were.
Okay.
Good. Thank you.
Motion?
So I move that we consider this a small, did I put it aside already? I sure did, because I was so confident. Small project type B.
Yep. Motion?
Two more.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous.
And second motion, I move that we grant a permit as a small project for the replacement of the deck in kind, in its entirety, with the requirement for any change to notify staff prior to making the change, and that at the completion of the project to do a post-construction inspection.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that's unanimous. You're all set. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we'll prepare the final permit and get it out to you, and then we'll be able to sign off on whatever building. Thank you for coming in.
Next one is 30/36 Mill Pond condominiums. Does nobody want to table that, or you want to? Pardon me?
I can give you a rundown on the project, or if you want to wait for a representative,
I think they should have representative here. I know they've done these before, but I don't think we should approve or deny anything.
Yeah, I move that.
With them not here.
Just table it for now, we'll come back to
Okay.
it at the end.
Okay.
All right,
They should make the initial presentation.
Yes.
okay.
Next one is 242, 1745, 350 Winthrop Ave.
So the commission continued the hearing to allow time for a draft decision to be written. That draft is ready for your review. No other plan changes occurred since the last meeting. So, and I don't think the project engineer anticipated needing to be here anyway, so.
No. Okay, motion?
We close this decision within 21 days.
Yep.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, that's unanimous. Next one is 242, 1761, 0 Riverview Street, GLSD.
We have a representative from GLSD here this evening. We received revised plans. DEP issued a number, and we received revised plans. AECom, the project engineer, provided a memo as to what those changes were. Want me to go through them, or I don't know if you got a chance to read them?
These changes were all what came out of the discussion at the prior meeting, correct? There's nothing new that they're offering, or is there?
Yeah, no, just minor tweaks. So I refined the draft decision based on these revised plans. I don't know if, Richard, you wanted to add anything?
I don't know, but I think the questions that you had for the board are applicable.
Okay, okay.
If you-
What's that? Any questions?
No question.
All right, motion?
That we close initial decision within 21 days.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that's unanimous. Bill set. Okay.
I do have one request. Because this is kind of on the fast track type mode, you know, we're hoping to get the order conditions as soon as possible.
Yeah, that, the motion's a standard textbook, 21 days. The truth is, it's probably tonight, right?
Yeah, I'll have it out the door tomorrow.
Thank you.
That's as fast as we can go.
That works for us. We did delay our bid opening till next week to accommodate
No,
that, so.
you'll have that. You'll have it
we're
tomorrow.
Good for that. Thank you very much.
Great.
Thank you. Next one is 242, 1762, 95 Lions Way.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Maureen Harold from North Environmental Services here on the We filed a notice of intent with the Conservation Commission to take an existing detention pond that services the Lions Way subdivision and to put that basin underground. Now, if you take a look at the plans in front of you, a lot of this work is outside the 100-foot buffer zone. The 100-foot buffer zone is shown in yellow on the plan. But we are proposing to put this underground because it is the stormwater for the subdivision. We had thought that a notice of intent was appropriate. I'm just here tonight to really introduce the project. We received comments from the town engineer this afternoon. Obviously, we need to get the town engineer's blessing. He requested deep holes out on the site and a number of other things that the engineer needs to provide to the town. So I can open it up for initial discussion, but essentially would like to put the basin underground, loam and seed that area, and extend the yard. And the basin itself is very much overgrown, trees, shrubs, You wouldn't even know that there is a drainage facility there unless you look through the trees. It just has not been maintained.
Joe?
We received town engineer comment letters from late this afternoon, so.
The first comment I had when I looked at it was exactly that. I didn't know the status of Lions Way, whether it was public or private, and if it's public, in reality, that's the town's detention area, not the landowners. It's on their property, but the town owns the easement and it's their structure. So it's pretty important to have the town buy-in on this. All by itself, putting it in a structure that can be maintained, someone's gonna have to maintain it, and whether the town pledges to do that or the homeowner's gonna pledge to do it, that gets very, very messy legally. Ultimately, what we want is that discharge from it, which goes directly to the resource area, to be clean. And that's really what our purview begins and ends at. The work itself is all outside the 100-foot. But the discharge from it is clearly to our resource area, so I think we can extend jurisdiction by virtue of that. What does the town engineer say?
So he's asking for a minimum of 1 test pit in the infiltration area to determine estimated seasonal high groundwater. Minimum of 2-foot separation is required between groundwater and the bottom of the infiltration system, so that needs to be verified with the test pit. He cites the North Andover stormwater regulations and the intensity rates that need to be used in the calculations. Let's see. HydroCAD calcs need to evaluate the proposed 24-inch HDPE inlet pipe that connects the 4-bay area to the proposed Cultec chambers. Drawdown time needs to be calculated to confirm the Cultec chambers are empty fully within 72 hours at the end of a storm event. O&M plan needs to be updated to include a restriction that no structures of any kind be allowed on top of the infiltration chamber aside from grass. And then the outlet control structure detail needs to be looked at based on the amount of cover over the manhole.
Any questions, Joe?
So,
He stops short of saying in so many words that the town of North Andover grants permission to allow this work to be done with its easement, 1, and 2, that the town of North Andover will continue to implement the operation maintenance plan as a town responsibility. Those are the two things that are missing in this letter. Lions Way is a public way, right? It's an
Yes.
accepted subdivision.
Yes.
So this easement is part of the public drainage system. Now, clearly, we probably haven't done a great job maintaining the detention basin.
It
Calls
has,
into question maintaining the
Right.
Caltech system, which is more sophisticated. If you don't do one, what's the likelihood of doing the other? So I think, ultimately, without either of those two affirmations by the town itself, we have nothing to say on this. The town doesn't grant permission for you to do that. It's our easement, which was taken at a town meeting.
right, so prior to even coming to the commission, the engineer had reached out to the DPW and the town engineer to try and get some feedback to see if this was even a possibility, if they would even consider it.
It sounds like it's a possibility because he's telling you the conditions that he would like.
Right.
But I think we need those two statements right out there. Somebody with authority who can change or modify the language of the easement such that what's now proposed is allowed by the owner, the town, and that the town agrees to maintain it. Those are the two things that are missing, and I don't think the town engineer all by himself has that authority. I think that has to, at the very least, go through the Board of Selectmen. It may need to go to town meeting.
Right, so you could be 100% correct. When we did the initial reaching out to the town, we didn't have much of a response. So now that we filed an application, we're getting a response. So we'll look into those avenues to see if that is necessary.
So specific to the conservation stuff that's here, at the discharge point, TSS removal and volume of water, speed and velocity and volume, if they're unchanged, I'm satisfied.
Okay,
We can't, I won't rule on any of that until we have that other big loop closed, and then you bring it back. So I'd be inclined to consider either tabling it or continuing it, but for some time, but I'll let my colleagues weigh into this.
2 weeks might be too soon.
Oh, yeah.
yes, absolutely too soon. I was thinking a month,
A month?
Yeah.
So you want to continue it for a month?
yes.
Are you comfortable with that? You have any questions, Doug?
No.
I mean, Doug, in your,
The only question I said is this is gonna be not owned by the town, but controlled by the town. The easement doesn't appear to be shown on the plan, on this plan here that's before us. Or if it's shown, it's not identified clearly that I can readily see it.
it actually is.
It
It's
is.
shown on the plan. It takes the whole curvature of the cul-de-sac, runs down the 11610, it runs across the
Yeah.
whole back.
Yeah.
And if you look at, it runs parallel to the house and then behind the house. So that's all a drainage easement, and it's making reference to the same easement plan that's on record. That's the North Registry of Deeds, plan number
Well,
13452.
I saw the reference to the plan, but it just,
Yeah, if you look up, you'll see it
Okay,
takes the
drainage
shape of
easement,
the...
okay.
Yeah,
I see that up there,
it looks
yeah.
like it's 2/3 of the lot is
Yeah.
the easement.
Yeah,
it doesn't leave the homeowner that, to me, that home isn't too valuable, given the restrictions that are on the lot.
now the approximate subsurface detention pond, is there one there now?
There's an existing open detention basin. There's a forebay and a basin.
Okay.
Right.
All right, so we need a motion to continue till September what?
11th is the
No,
first,
11th.
it's the first meeting in September.
We have September 11th or September 25th.
Which one do you want?
25th.
The 25th is fine because we have to work out the details with the engineer.
Motion to continue to
So moved.
So moved.
She said so.
The-
Oh, you moved it?
Yeah.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's-
Thank you.
See you September 20th.
Before we leave this, I
Yes.
had done a site inspection and saw some violations in the no disturb zone, which
Oh,
need to
sorry about
get,
that. I'm sorry.
it's all right, to get addressed. There was some cuttings of saplings, there's landscaping creep into the no disturb zone, and there's some dumping of logs and sacks of, they're like plastic sacks of sand that are just kind of dumped
Sandbags.
there. So I think that should be addressed. I mean, there's no disturb markers and posts out there, and, you know, there's landscaping between that and the wetland, so I don't think that was really the intention.
Okay, she has a month to make the following presentation.
Okay.
Presentation again. Why don't you talk to Amy at some point? Sure. See what the problems are, and have them corrected for when you reapply, because she has them on file, so at least you have a month to straighten out whatever ails the project.
I'll go so far as saying if, for whatever reason, the project doesn't move forward and there's a request to withdraw, on the 25th,
5th, 25th.
25th, we'll issue an enforcement order, so yeah, that can't be just ignored because
No.
you might withdraw the project. Yeah, we want it cleaned up.
Yeah,
I understand.
but there's no sense in issuing an enforcement.
No,
order.
not now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just want to make sure it's on the radar.
It's on the radar. This out way. Next one is.
That's bizarre. I don't know where everybody is tonight.
242, no, number 2051 and 2053 Salem Street. They're not here either.
I don't see Ben Osgood, no.
Okay, well, we'll table
I
that
don't know
one
where
for now.
everybody is tonight.
Enforcement orders, 422 Waverly Road.
Okay. The commission was waiting for the no disturb zone post and markers to be installed. We received verification that they have been. So I recommend the commission lift the enforcement order and consider this to be in compliance.
Any questions, Joe?
No question, that's right.
Yep. Motion? We have rescind enforcement, or is that your recommendation?
Lift it, yeah, lift it.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that's unanimous. Okay, next one is 456 Summer Street.
Okay.
Good evening. Hi.
So our field inspector, Ben Carroll, was made aware of some tree cutting at 456 Summer. He followed up with a site inspection, and he met with Ms. Karlstrom. He did some initial site investigation, and was of the opinion that there were wetlands close to the tree cutting. Informed Ms. Karlstrom that he needed to come back with myself to look at the area more closely. We went again, spoke with Ms. Karlstrom, did another site walk, found areas that had wetland soils, wetland vegetation, previous wetland flagging upstream. Went back to the office and did a file research and found that 2 houses to the north was subject to a filing for a septic system upgrade, so that wetland flag was part of a BVW delineation in the past. We issued the subject enforcement letter and required that she come in tonight to talk about it with you. They have a building permit submitted for a garage in the area of the tree removal, but that, I will not sign off on it until we have a wetland delineation and a better idea of where the edge of wet is, where's the no disturb zone, the no build zone, and then we, develop a plan from there, but.
So in the meantime, after I received the letter, I had no idea about the trees. I hired an environmental group, Maureen's company. They came out, they did an inspection. I got a report today. Amy also got an email to her today that we're not in the zone. I have since contacted my contractor. I've had the property surveyed professionally. I contacted my contractor, who then is in touch with the surveyor to come back out and review the blue, they're like blue tape flags that Maureen installed on Monday, and to take topography pictures of it, because there are none. But she's pulled the maps and emailed to Amy, and there doesn't appear to be any type of wetlands. And there is down further on Farnham Street, but I'm on Summer Street, and that would be up higher than I am. So we're trying to, determine what it is exactly. And I've had an architect and engineer already draw out the plans for the garage, and they placed it on the map, plot plan map. I don't think the garage is exactly where it's going to be. It's going to be closer to the house, which is quite a distance from this area that Amy walked. So I don't have all the information yet because it just happened. I hired the engineering environmental group as soon as I knew about anything, to come out and get an idea, because I had no idea that there was any wetlands back there.
So we received this letter from Norse this afternoon. Maureen from Norse Engineering reports that she was on site on August 12th. Flag bordering vegetated wetlands with wetland flags A1 through A10. And it's a red red maple swamp area. She reports that the tree removal and the stumps that are left in the tree removal occurred approximately 30 feet from the wetland. So,
Lucky.
Yep.
Still permissible activity, but, not in the resource area.
Right.
So I think.
Or the no disturb.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing is mistake, genuine mistake. Thank God not catastrophic, because it's not in a resource area, but it's in a buffer zone. Don't do any more work until things flush out, so to speak. You're fortunate that you've got another project to attach this effort to, but knowing where that line is going to determine, we would sign off on our building permits as what, at any rate, regardless of the street situation. So we would have required that this marginal area be surveyed anyway. So
Right.
what you've done isn't a waste. You would have had to do it anyway.
Right.
So we're soon to get the answer. Rather than diving into the tree question at this time, so long as there's no stump removal. If there's-
Right.
The
it just-
stumps were left because
Yeah.
they're going to be doing excavating.
Leave everything intact
Right.
until this process is completed.
Right, so we haven't done anything, and the next step was to have the surveyor come back out, review the project, do a new plot plan, then I'll go back to the engineer and they'll put the garage where it's supposed to be on the plot plan, so then everybody can see where it's supposed to be. And if the garage has to move closer to the driveway, then it will. I mean, there's room there.
And that's what this, so I'm anticipating the next process would be, we will consider this enforcement action as part of what's going to almost certainly be a notice of intent filing. You're going to be
Right.
filing with us for that.
We are going to be.
As long as you're not doing anything else and you're hearing me say now for the fourth time, don't do anything, you'll be fine, because we'll address the
Right.
tree issue as part of that NOI filing.
So I'll have everything, I mean, my contractor's already emailed the building permit, like she said, it's online. I probably with the plans, I'm not really sure. I've hired professionals to do this job in every area, because I don't know, so I wanted to have it done legally and on
Well,
correct.
Just so you are aware that she can't sign the Form U, which is a part of your building permit,
Right,
until you've cleared conservation.
Right.
If there aren't any wetlands issues or any outstanding issues, before they can have signed a Form U. So you won't get a building permit. So what you do is you get your engineered plan, you put the garage where you want, then we'll figure out what the 25 is and the 50 and all that stuff. And then you might have your engineer tweak it so it's out of those zones.
right,
And then come before us, we approve it, then she'll sign the Form U, then you get your building permit. As
Okay.
long as there aren't any outstanding issues.
okay.
Any questions?
So my August 1st letter stays in place?
Yes.
Yes.
As an order to cease and desist all activity?
Yes.
And we'll entertain a forthcoming notice of intent?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to
Is that right?
put deadlines on things, so, let's continue this to September 11th, anticipating that the NOI is going to be filed before that, and
Okay.
we'll hear it.
Okay.
If we don't, at least it'll give us an opportunity to ask, what's the status of that
Okay.
filing, because we may have to act on the enforcement order all by itself.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so you spoke to a wetland scientist,
I did,
okay, and your surveyor. Did
Right,
make
so
sure
the
wetland
survey-
scientist and the surveyor talk to one another,
Exactly,
so that the surveyor locates everything,
right,
puts the buffer zones on the plan that he gives you,
okay,
and then your architect, or whoever is locating the garage, they get a plan and they can locate it, knowing all that information.
okay.
So I just want to make sure that you walk away with the understanding that there are wetlands on the property and there are buffer zones, so.
Right.
That's kind of why you have to go through this process, so.
Right.
And Joe's right, that the garage would have triggered all of this anyway, so.
Well, right, that's why I hired
Yeah.
professionals
Yeah. Yeah.
to file building permits and get it surveyed and do all of that so that we know where the property lines are and where the building's going to be exactly and the
Yep.
setbacks, et cetera.
Right. Great,
So,
okay.
yeah, we're all
Good.
on the same page.
Okay, good, good.
Thank you.
Let me make sure.
All right, so we're continuing the,
Continue to the 11th,
So-
September?
Second. So the 11th?
Yeah.
listen forward to
With-
stand till 11. If you need more time, just
You just
notify her.
Well, when I-
You just stay in contact with the office, because if your NOI is actually filed and it's on the agenda anyway,
Right,
then the problem almost just meld together and gets solved in
Okay.
that one hearing, or that one series of hearings.
But if you can't get, your engineer doesn't make the September 11th meeting,
right,
you know, get all the apples in a row, just tell her that you're having a problem, that, you know, you're gonna go to the next meeting, and it'll keep the enforcement order in place, so we don't, because instead of them calling, you say, whoa, what are you doing? You know?
right.
Yeah. Yeah, so,
It should be done by the 11th. I think I can get everybody wired up to go. This
Yeah.
is the 14th, that's a month.
yeah, and Maureen's aware of all the deadlines for.
Right.
So the environmental consultant appears before us, they know what we're looking for, and I don't know who your engineer is, but, you know, there are folks who, if it's someone who you know works before the town on other things, they also know what we're looking for, so.
Right.
They're gonna give you your guidance you need.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks
All
for
right,
coming in.
thanks.
Thank you.
All right, next one is 125 Sherwood Drive.
Sherwood Drive, okay. Hi. So Miss Gallus is here this evening. She actually was forthcoming in the fact that she installed a fence without prior permitting with the commission. I performed a site inspection to verify. Upon reviewing the as-built plan from when you did the, was it a deck?
Yes.
It may be that the fence is within the 25-foot no disturb zone. So that will need to get addressed. I have some site photos here. So in my review of the property, you know, I did identify some areas in the no disturb zone that were subject to some lawn and yard waste debris dumping.
No, I don't think so.
Drawing a blank of where Sherwood
Okay,
is.
you know what? It's,
It's 2 streets past where Salem Street veers with Boxford, so it's off Boxford Street.
Okay.
yeah.
So it's
So
a
this is-
relatively new subdivision with all, you know, that was built under
Yeah.
all the current bylaw regs.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
All right.
Yep, yep. So this is the as-built plan from when the deck was done, and porch. So we have the 25-foot no disturb zone. There were areas of buffer zone restoration inside the no disturb zone. The fence comes off of this side of the house, 2 sections worth, and shoots down, and then kind of envelops the entirety of the backyard. So it's in this corner that I believe that the fence is in the no disturb zone. Right there.
So you're saying the fence should have cut in, and that said they made a
Yeah.
square.
It's probably this this pie-shaped area right here in the
Yeah.
corner that it cuts into. You know, it may go over the buffer restoration area. But
Right, so what we need is, you could probably do an after the fact IDA, but the fence would have to be moved because it's in the wetlands. Can you,
Is that the only part that I would have to move?
Why would you
Is
do
that-
an IDA? Couldn't we just order it through the enforcement order? Why put it through another process?
we could do that too, if you want.
so
There's no
you
other
have
part
op-
of this
you have
project.
options.
There's no other part of this project. There is no other project, it's the
No,
fence.
this was quite literally, the handyman said, do
So-
you want a fence? I said, yes.
So the
It was a month
egregious
later when
action
I
is putting a
realized-
fence there. We don't need to make you file another permit. What we need you to do is rectify the issue. So
Yeah.
we can handle it through this process.
Okay,
There's other-
And it just, unless you say, no, I'm not gonna move the fence, then we're gonna make you go through a process. Now,
I'll take
We're
down
not
the fence
talking
if I
about moving the
absolutely
whole
had to,
fence, we
but I'd
don't
really
think.
rather not.
No, it's just the corner.
how
Yeah.
old is the as-built? We have a date down there somewhere, right?
see, it's 2011.
All right, so it's 8 years old.
Yep.
I mean, things haven't changed that much back there probably. You can see where the line is, so the rest of
Yeah,
the fence,
I mean,
the rest of the fence, you know, they didn't do any tree clearing, they didn't.
no.
Even if it's up against the edge of it, it's up.
It's right on the edge, yeah, and you can see where the old, no disturb zone markers are still visible, and it really literally goes along, and I really think it's this.
All right, so what I would ask you to
that's
do is, if you don't mind, is to determine where that 25 is
Okay,
and just show where that section of fence needs to be relocated, and
okay,
then we can address that at the next meeting, from my perspective. I don't see anything egregious. The irony here is, oftentimes we're fighting with applicants to put a physical barrier, and you have.
Right.
So it's not necessarily a bad thing, so long as
Okay.
it's not too far in.
Right.
And that's what we're wrestling with here.
Well, we certainly tried to stay on that line, and that's
we'll just,
reasonable.
I'll
Now,
get
some of
on
the
site
pictures
and
that you
measure.
showed of the debris, next time you're at my house, if you have to take any more pictures, just show me, because in the picture, I can see the logs, which we actually did stick there so my dog didn't dig under the fence. We'll put them on the other side.
okay, okay, there you go.
That's all I have to offer.
Okay.
We'll set up.
That
All
was
right.
the, that was the, where you
So
were talking
just
about, the 2 logs?
There are a
Well,
couple logs.
There's other stuff, but, so just a general cleanup,
Mhm.
and,
There were
Yeah.
flags up there.
yeah, I got good shots of the plaques, but it's this close corner
Okay.
of the fence that I believe is in the
Okay,
no disturb zone, so.
seems doable.
Yeah.
All right.
Seems fixable.
All right, so what are you enforcing order? How long do you think you need to move the fence? A month?
I would think a month. I know the person who put it up should be able to move that for me.
September 11th.
That's gonna be a busy meeting.
I'm not going to be here.
Yeah, sure.
I'm not, I know, I have a hearing at work.
And you're not gonna be here either? That's not good,
That's no good.
no. And we're gonna have one abstention.
For another
Okay.
project.
Yeah.
So I can probably get out there with Ben to do some measurements, to figure out kind of where that no disturb zone, how much of the fence is, where we gotta move it, probably middle of next week.
Great.
And then we can go from there.
Yeah, this holding space for September 11th, if it's done, the answer is it's solved.
Yes,
Yeah,
okay,
I think September
Okay.
11th is fair enough.
all right.
Okay.
And we're
So
gonna leave
you-
then
Would
you're
you
gonna-
want me to come in with pictures, or?
No, you'd contact us. We'd
Okay.
pop back out, we'd verify with some photos and, you
Okay.
know, so.
And the debris, you could tell them what has to be
Yes,
moved.
yeah, and we can point out kind of the things we want out of
Yeah.
the no disturb zone. and-
Okay.
That'd be great.
Yep,
Like I said, in the picture, some of it, I'm like, I think
Yeah.
that's a natural, like, blowing in the wind, but I
Yeah.
can't tell.
Yeah.
It's fine.
yep, okay.
Okay, so we'll continue till September 11th?
So,
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous.
Thank you guys very
Great.
much.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in.
Penny's here.
That's it, so we'll go back, we're gonna go back to, which one is he? He's the
Salem Street.
2051 to 2053 Salem Street. Don't get comfortable.
Don't get comfortable.
You guys chewed through your agenda pretty
We
quick.
were within 7 minutes of getting continued.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Wow. Good evening, Ben Osgood, here representing the Cleon and Richards for 2051 and 2053 Salem Street. This was where a violation took place over the winter, the tree cutting. We came in with a plan, you asked us to file. So we've put together a plan of everything they want to do. So number one, they need to take care of the violation, which is kind of between the two houses, restore some wetlands, additional planting up on the hill where they took down the trees. Number two, at 2053, he'd like to take down some trees that are around the house, that are within the buffer zone of the wetlands. He's just afraid they're going to come down, and so he'd like to take some out and put some new ones in that are smaller, to keep the buffer zone plantings. And third portion is tree cutting behind 2051. There are some very large pine trees. These are the 3 to 4 foot diameter, 150 foot tall pines. They're afraid that they're going to come down, and in addition, they need a new septic system for that house. So we're not proposing the septic system, but we're showing where it is and proposing the tree cutting for it. Now, this property has the riverfront, so some of the work is riverfront work under your jurisdiction. Obviously, the wetland disturbance, the wetland buffer zone, but it's also in the natural heritage area for, I think, spotted turtle and Blanding's turtle. So we filed this with natural heritage. As you know, you can't parcel out a project, so they did cut off one lot. So the natural heritage needs to look at the total cutting that we're doing and approve the cutting limits. So that's why we've shown that extra stuff, on the other lots. We didn't want to, come back and piecemeal things with natural heritage. So we just decided to put it all together in one filing here as well.
And it's all on a single ownership anyway, right?
No, it's
Correct.
2 lots.
2 lots, a single
It's two
ownership.
lots. Right now, it's single ownership.
Oh, yeah.
Cleon
Are
Richards.
they
But-
moving in there, they selling them?
No, the 2051 is going to be purchased by Cleon's son, and he wants to rehab that house. So he's going to come back for that. I think he's going to keep the footprint the same, but he does need a new septic system there, so. And that would be, the septic system will be a separate filing within the approved limits of clearing under this filing.
So the axes are the trees that are going to be removed?
Correct. We have little symbols with the stumps, those are the ones that were removed. And then the X's are the ones that we would like to remove in addition to those. I don't think, on 2051, I think there's one large pine in the no-cut zone. Otherwise, the rest are either in the 100-foot buffer or riverfront, a couple of them outside of those. And at 2053, most of those are within the buffer zone or the riverfront.
Any questions, Joe?
Then the one that's in the no disturbance zone, if I'm looking just to the right of 2053, it's right where the limited disturbance, there's that one solid, first of all, the solid black, are they trees to remain? What are the solid blacks without X's?
Those are the proposed replacement trees.
Replacement trees, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Where's the tree that you're looking to remove that you think's in the no disturb?
So up at right in the corner of the limited disturb, there is it's kind of closer to 2053, but on 2051, there's one large oak tree up there he'd like to take down. And I actually have a picture of that. I think it's looking from his driveway.
So there's 4-inch birch tree very close to the wetlands
Right.
on 2053,
Right.
2 of those,
Yeah, there's some,
and then 4 oaks.
right.
And is there a need to grind those stumps?
Well, we weren't going to grind the ones that are very close to the wetlands. He doesn't need to grind those either, he said.
So let's not be vague, like, of the activity up in the no disturb itself. I'm looking at 4 total oaks
Yep.
that are in the no disturb
Yep.
that says remove and stump ground. So we're saying we don't want those stumps ground. In that same general vicinity, but further to the west, you've got 2 4-inch birches to be removed. No reference to stump grinding, so I'm
Right.
going to assume it, but we're gonna say outright, do not grind those stumps either.
Right.
And then we've got further to the west, now over the property line of 2051, you have
There's 1 oak tree.
oak within buffer to be removed, stumped top to remain. So there, that one you're being specific to not grind that one.
Right.
So that's all of the work within the no disturb, correct?
And then there's another,
1 more tree down at 2053.
just off the stone construction entrance,
Yeah.
just east of that.
That one I'm not seeing. That's in the no disturb, or that's within the buffer zone?
It's in the no disturb.
Yeah, just kind of diagonally back from the garage,
Oh, way up,
about 25 feet.
up on the hill.
Well, it's counting that as the 4 total. Am I incorrect? The note points to 1, says oak within buffer zone to be removed and stump ground, total of 4. I'm seeing 1, 2, 3, 4 right there, so.
Right there, right. We didn't actually put a leader on this one. It's proposed to be removed, but it doesn't have its own leader.
Okay.
What it is it says pine tree within buffer zone to be removed, 5 total. So if you look at
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 of them is in the 25-foot no disturb.
Okay, I'm seeing that.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay. Okay, so you show three pine trees out of the buffer,
Right,
north of the proposed septic system.
correct.
And then when you get inside the buffer zone, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, with the 5th one being inside the 25.
Right.
So these trees were removed because they were, why?
Mistake.
They
Well, I
just
mean,
wanted,
what was the original?
they wanted to clear their land out, open it up a little bit.
Okay, so moving forward, we replant these trees, we do the wet mix and the roadside mix,
Right.
and then what happens?
They're just planning on leaving that alone.
Just let it go?
Yep.
So there's no yearly mowing or regular
Nope.
mowing or?
They simply wanted to clear some of the trees, and they had a guy that would do it for the wood. So he took more than they really needed, but they didn't care.
We gave you a wise guy answer. You asked a legitimate question. What happened? You know, they made a mistake. We went up that they cleared, they shouldn't have cleared, they got spanked. We were going to hold them to a restoration plan. We gave them a deadline to file a restoration plan, but they also were quite forthright saying, look,
We want to do more?
there's more that we want to do that's necessary out there. We'd like to come in and do it all at once.
Okay,
That's what this is. That's what
Right.
this process is.
Right.
okay.
There was some deadline put on it, but I'm not sure
I
when.
think we were supposed to originally be
It's July
done by July 1st.
3rd, something.
Yeah. So,
But other than the forest management plan that we have here, there's no other activity proposed at this time. at some point, we're going to see a separate NOI come in for septic system.
Correct.
Probably. Maybe
Right.
not, but probably.
Right,
And, that'll stand on its own when it's done.
right. Yeah.
So under an NOI, which is what this is,
Yeah.
we can dictate future activities as a
Okay.
condition.
Yep.
If it's no mowing and whatever it is, we can just put it right in there.
Okay.
Yeah, and we've shown a row of hemlocks and along kind of what was the old edge of the yard. And that's, he wants to establish that as the line. And, obviously we can put some wetland markers on posts. But, like I said, this clearing mainly was to provide more light to 2053. So he just wanted, more sunlight to come in there.
So let's talk administrative procedure here. Natural Heritage wanted separate filings. Well, they didn't want it separate, they
No,
wanted
they
it to
wanted
consolidate it because they
everything.
want to look at
They wanna
They want to
the
look like.
entire habitat,
Right,
in
Right.
unison.
right.
But what we have is a single NOI encumbering two separate parcels.
Right,
We're both going to have separate deeds with an order of conditions, the same order of conditions recorded against them.
right,
So at some point in time with sales of properties of family members or whatnot, someone's going to need ultimately certificates of compliance on each of those lots in the future.
right. Right.
Even
So-
though it's one hearing, we're still going to have to record them against both properties.
Right, right. Both properties will be listed on there, and then the COC will be, go back to the original order of conditions when that's signed off.
Okay.
My issue with this is that I try and be as consistent as I can. Trees, healthy trees within the 25, for me, we've had homeowners come before us before, and I say no. Because you don't just cut trees because you want more light or you want, it's a healthy tree and it's in the wetlands, then it should be left alone. That's my opinion. If the trees are healthy and they're not creating a hazard to the house or to the people, or, I'm against cutting healthy trees. If you could prove to me that they're a safety issue, or
Sean?
they're dead,
Sean would insist upon an alternatives analysis, and he's not here.
yeah.
I think on a tree-by-tree basis, anything within the no disturb area, we want a determination by an arborist that, as to its health and hazard.
Exactly,
We need that in writing,
exactly.
because, Sean he'd
That's-
crucify me for not even raising it.
And I'm of the same opinion. I don't see people move to the woods and then they cut the trees down.
They want to cut the trees, right?
It doesn't make sense to me. But I mean, like I said, if they're dead or it's a hazard, that's something else. But not just random cutting of trees because you want to let the sun in your house.
So the direction that would be, so we're clear, is cutting a healthy tree outside of the 25 is something that's permissible. But anything that's proposed within the 25, all those that we just talked about, item for item, we need an arborist report for each one of those trees
Yeah,
that concludes as to its health or its hazard.
I think so too. Yep. No question. Doug?
What's the purpose of, maybe I missed this, what's the purpose of taking down these trees and then replanting trees in the same area?
Well, number one, they didn't know they couldn't take them down.
No, but they're proposing to take these trees down, and they're gonna
Oh,
propose
because-
to put new trees in their
Right.
place. So
He doesn't mind having the trees there. He doesn't like having the big trees around the house. He's afraid they're going to fall down on the house. The birch trees,
some of these trees are quite far from the house.
Yeah, they are.
right?
Maybe close to the garage, but they're quite far from the house.
Right.
100-foot tall tree can reach a long way. with
Well,
the
that's
whole
right.
road. Like about 100 feet.
Yeah. You're right, and I totally respect, needing to have an arborist, and I warned them that they may need that, so the way we decided to handle it, because I didn't think Natural Heritage would have looked at this before this first meeting, which is true. So I just figured we could, come in, make the presentation, and if you wanted additional information, we can provide that. If happy to do a site walk if you want to, if we have an arborist report about the trees.
If I didn't say it, I'm sorry, I should have said it. I think I said certified arborist. I mean, I don't want a Jamoke who's a tree clearer.
Right.
Drum up his own business. There needs to be a certified
Right.
arborist.
We've
who makes this
we've
conclusion.
had them before.
Yep.
They wouldn't know an oak tree from a pine tree.
There's another
But
thing
he
here.
knows
There
board
appears to be
feet.
some trees that you're proposing to put in that are on budding property.
No, I'm,
To the west of,
actually,
2053.
the label, those are existing trees, they're not proposed. So they don't have any, wording. The proposed
They're existing,
ones,
that's one thing that-
they're
Yeah,
existing,
they're existing.
they're,
They don't have a
they're on the
symbol
power company
or-
easement, so.
That, I'll kid aside, but it's not a very healthy site. It's, you're on the side of a
Yeah.
mountain. You start stripping trees,
I know,
Right.
you're gonna have an erosion problem.
Yep.
that's right.
So, stumping or grinding or stumping would be definitely out, to me. Because I could just picture that hill landing on Salem Street.
Right, they don't want to grind any of the stumps up in that area, which is kind of right in the center of the property where they've cut all the trees. They just want to leave the stumps. They never intended to clear it or make lawn.
To
I
me,
think what it was the guy had, 3 or 4 trees up in the back, that he wanted to take out. And the
You
tree
need a road
cutter
to get
just,
there.
the tree
Took
cutter
everything,
just took
towed it.
everything on the way to get there.
Well, we
Because he
have-
was loading it up and taking it away.
we had
Fire-
another tree cutter just keep going, and he went on 2 people's other properties.
Right, right.
Right.
Yeah, and of course, I'm a resident of New Hampshire, but, so I don't mean to disparage people from New Hampshire, but that's where the tree cutter is from.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
and they
Yep.
don't have the regulations
They
up
don't
there
have
that we have
They
here.
just go.
They don't know.
All right, so how do you want to approach this?
I have a couple
Yes,
just
go ahead.
plan questions. Is there any way we could get some topo on this plan?
Yeah,
It
I
would
was
be
just looking
great.
at that, it must not have
Just- I
printed
think
properly.
I think it's an important piece of
Oh, yeah.
information.
It is important, it's the side of a mountain.
Is it on the PDF? Actually, no, it's
I
not.
don't see it, no.
Something, layer control in the printer.
Yeah,
No,
earlier versions
there's a
you
way
had.
to get
Right.
the inner 100-foot riparian riverfront area on there too.
Actually, didn't I add that on in a revised plan? We can do, we'll make sure that gets on there.
Okay. Okay. All right. And then limit of disturbance, the scalloped is the previous limited disturbance?
So the light scallop is the previous limit.
Yeah.
And the darker is the proposed.
Okay,
It's a little hard to see.
okay.
Yeah, well, on the PDF, if you look at just above the construction entrance, there's a lighter scallop that's existing, and then the darker is
Okay.
proposed. But we can label that a little differently, too.
Okay. All right, great. Okay,
All right, so we need, you want to,
continue.
we have to continue,
Right.
so you want, the next meeting, you don't think you'd have it ready, right?
You meet
2 weeks.
August
That would be the 28th.
August 28th.
28th. The deadline to have it in is the,
7 days prior to that?
okay, so next,
So another week. So it'll be the
Sounds good.
21st will be the deadline.
yeah, I think we can, we'll definitely have the plan revised. I don't know we'll have an arborist, but we'll,
I would speak also to the applicant again to see if we can not take those trees out. Because I'll be truthful, I'll tell you right out, I'm not gonna be too fond about removing trees, healthy trees in the 25-foot or the wetlands.
Yeah, it's not a fool's errand to hire the arborist. If it comes back that they're all healthy,
Right.
we're gonna say no.
Right.
So, yeah, he should really be
Yep.
realistic on his own account.
Save
Maybe
money.
Stave off the arborist. If he says, I don't really care about him, leave him, then don't hire an arborist, just don't take him down.
Right.
Take him off the plan.
Save money there, more for you.
Does it work that way?
Never works that way.
I didn't think so.
All right, so we're gonna continue to September 28th.
Maybe it does in the,
August 28th.
August
Trucking
20th,
business.
excuse me.
August 28th?
August 20th.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous.
all right,
Thanks, Ben.
thank you.
Thank you,
I
Ben.
apologize I was late, I just,
That's okay.
That's
We're-
all right. We just
We're
took more
moving, we
through
don't
the
waste any
beginning.
time.
the last meeting I was at, I got home in another city.
But we are gonna, we're
I
not
was
the
there
other,
until 10, so.
no, 10, that's taboo for us.
Yeah.
Okay. So, we had one, 350 Winthrop Ave, what are we gonna do with that? Because they weren't here.
No, we didn't expect them to
But you
be.
have
I
the
just, I
decision
needed to
ready.
write a draft decision.
Right, okay. right,
So we
so-
have
You've got-
MACC dues.
Dues, yeah, I know.
If we could just vote on that, just re-vote, because at the last meeting, I failed to add Ben as a staff, so that upped it to 882 for MACC dues altogether.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous. And next one is election of Conservation Commission officers. Now, all you guys know you were renewed, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
You, still up for it, man?
Yeah, I don't mind. I really don't.
I hereby nominate Louis Napoli to be chairman.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous. And I'm going to nominate Al, even though he's not here. Can I do that?
Sure. This is the railroad.
That's a real railroad.
I don't think he's interested.
Yeah, I know he is. So I nominate Al Manzi as the vice chair.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous.
Great.
Maybe the new town manager might not like it, but that's what we're gonna do it. We'll find out.
No, I mean, it's not railroading, for those who might still be watching, right?
I'm only kidding.
It's a vote of confidence of the leadership of the commission
We're only-
to keep
only
you guys
kidding.
in place, and so long as you're both willing to do it, you've done a great job.
Thank you. It's been working out well, so we might as well, if it ain't broke,
All
don't
right,
fix it.
so we had no one show up for the Mill Pond RDA. Do we table it?
We have to open it first, because it's a public hearing, so we haven't opened the public hearing.
Okay.
So I hereby deem it read and opened.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to move forward with it
No, we'll
without
just continue it.
representative?
Continue it to the
Okay.
next meeting, unfortunately. Although they have applied, they've done, I'm surprised, they must have forgot, because they're usually pretty good, and they've done this before. You know, they want to,
Yeah,
the overhangs?
these are just phases, right?
Yeah.
Just another set of buildings.
Yeah.
So move that we continue, next meeting, 28th.
28.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. Okay, now we
Great.
have decisions.
Forgot about that. All right, let's see, so we've got,
First one is 242-1745.
and that's 350 Winthrop. So they're not in color, but the gray is sort of where I ask for specific review and feedback. I gotta figure out whether the elevation is NAVD or NGVD, so that's a note to self.
So they have the water quality treatment area where the snow stockpile is, and it's separated from what is going to be open channel, i.e. perennial stream, right?
Yes.
Is their O&M plan specific enough to outline what's required?
Right, so I spoke to that with condition number 46, and that may not be enough, but you let me know.
close the hearing.
Yes.
Really not much else we can ask for than the way you've done it. If we wanted something more specific, we could have had them change it while the hearing was open. So at this point, we just simply.
No, it's open. Oh, no, you did close
We
it,
closed
or
it, yeah, we
earlier,
closed it,
I'm
yeah.
sorry, yep, okay.
So at this
Well-
point, we simply have to have them revise the plan. That
Yeah.
gives you the burden of having to
Yep.
review it administratively.
Jen, Amy, they agreed to put boulders along the,
Boulders.
I don't see those anywhere.
And that along the no disturb zone, or
No,
the-
it was at the end of the snow stockpile, basically to establish a limit of how far they push,
Yep,
given the size of the
Thank
load.
you.
Could be big boulders.
Well, we told them, I think we pretty much told the big boulders.
Yeah, we did.
And
Big
the
boulders.
guy that does the snow has big boulders. Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you think 5,000?
No, that's not enough.
10?
What do you think, Ken? 1,001? I think we should make it heavy because.
I think we should make it heavy too, I mean, they are literally taking what is a perennial stream combined in a culvert and making it an open brook. And this is no different than relocating, this is more aggressive than relocating the stream to the airport.
Yeah,
Like $30,000.
Really?
We want it at the airport.
okay. So whatever you're comfortable with. What do you think?
Yeah, actually $30,000. The rate on.
oh, I'm
crashing-
sorry, that's pathetic, isn't it?
What is?
No, my proposal
Well,
for bond?
as soon as I saw it, I knew that
No,
was,
but we get some of those holding places, we,
just pick a number, we'll either make
Yeah, I
it
don't
good or
know.
make it bad. Yeah, no,
You think 30?
I'm just looking at the
30
risk of
from
impact. What
Yeah,
we're doing is,
yeah.
we have a perennial stream that's confined in a culvert now.
Yeah.
Right? They're going to be defeating that. They're going to be building a new brook, new perennial stream. They gotta stabilize it, they get water to flow in it, they are on the banks of the Shawshene River. I think 30,000 all day long.
Is that enough?
Oh, again, is it enough to do what? To build the whole thing? No, we're not asking, we're only looking at if they had a calamity, what is it would it take to clean it up? I think 30,000 is enough to clean something up.
Okay.
you comfortable with that, Doug?
Yeah, that's fine.
What's that? They get a lot of money, just up the groceries, that's all. All right, any other questions on this one? So we need the boulders and increase the bond.
Did we, do we think there's any necessity to dictate the time of year or the climatic condition when the work can happen?
I don't think we have, we haven't conditioned it, but do we have to?
Dry, low flow,
Yeah, I mean.
Time of year.
Yeah. I mean, you really, this work ought to be done
Now,
next July, next August, yeah.
yep.
Before the fall rains and after the snow melt off.
so we gotta give them a what, the 2-month window?
Which is doable. I mean, they can do the other work, but I think the work within, the work of creating the, actually, that is the project now only. The other piece coming down along the parking lot, they took
didn't
that
do
off the
it.
table.
They took it off the table,
Yeah.
after we
So
helped
the,
them.
yeah, the whole project, it has to be done in low,
Low flow.
So
low
we,
flow.
we'll say July 1st or September 1st?
I would say from,
June's wet,
yeah, July 1st to, and completed by September 1.
right? That's plenty of time, 2 months into the project.
Oh, yeah.
They could do it in a week. So that's the only other condition. Any other conditions you could think of? Okay. Motion?
To adopt as amended.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous. Next one is 242-1761, And this is the generator at the sewage treatment plant.
So condition number 36, Richard spoke with me about that, and he said that the grading changes and infiltration trench will be undertaken coincidentally, so I don't know if it's necessary to make them do the compensatory flood storage prior to any other work, sort of all together.
Given the confined nature of the project, and I think that this is fair doing it at the same time. I'm sure- I'm struggling with the grammar. Is it concurrently?
Coincident?
I don't know. Maybe-
Coincident.
I think it's
Concurrent.
fine, actually, the more I think of it. It almost seems like it was by accident.
Yeah. I'll make sure it's really clear. Bond of,
Do we don't, I mean, the applicant's on our, we were on his side and he's in agreement with us on the buffer zone. So there was a liberal interpretation of compensatory flood storage, and part of what I was using was the logic of, by having reliable power, we're actually retaining large cubic feet of storage, within the plant as opposed to spilling the river. The compensation is simply retainage of the storage. Do we need to spell that out, or nobody's gonna appeal this, right?
I doubt it.
Just leave it alone. It's in the record in the minutes. That's how we justified it.
I don't know if the bond is appropriate,
Yeah,
at
yeah.
5,000? No. Okay.
It's minimal excavation work, but it is a large project.
Without much great wetland impact issues though, right? They're
It's
working
only
in all
thi-
disturbed area.
It's only 35 cubic yards.
I think 5,000 is fine there.
Huh?
5,000 is fine there.
You did? Okay,
They own a $500 million plant, they're not going anywhere.
I don't know, they might be if the feds get involved. Now they're starting to write a list savers. Somebody woke them up. They were on the news today, did you see them? The state about
SSOs?
the green ad, yeah. Yes, I went,
Sanitary sewer overflow, yeah.
and the foam that's killing all the dogs, green algae.
Oh.
So they close the beach, there's yellow tape everywhere, and they got the lifeguards in the water, like, hello? It's, but they're gonna, the state legislature's gonna address issues with water quality. Because there's sewage in the water, hello?
How many years you keep the boat in the river?
It's never been like this, never. I was at the rivers, that's color, it's all over that podium. The only thing that's missing is the smell.
Like when I was a kid.
Yeah. Which will be here shortly if they keep going.
I don't know if we were.
Condition 50?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
Would
no
we
need,
require-
no need.
Okay.
No. Okay, any other questions?
Crazy thing is the 25-foot no disturbance zone that we would typically flag.
Yeah.
Is it underneath
Or
that
mark.
underneath that rock revetment, that's actually their interceptor store. So it's pointless to
Right.
flag it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, there was no drainage on the site, right?
Yeah.
But a similar note, doesn't have to be because it's in their specs and their plan. The belly tank has a containment system in it, but that's part of their plans already.
Right.
for oil and gas separation, so they already have that on their
It's a
plans.
valve.
So, yeah, that almost becomes moot, take it right out.
Okay. And then 73, Richard did inform me that they do do a combo of sand and salt. And so perhaps a reduced salt requirement for de-icing, or?
That-
Do
I'm
what we
gonna
do, what
agree.
we do with everywhere, just leave it in there.
Just leave it in there because
Don't change it, just leave it as is.
it's pretty much unenforceable.
That's why I stopped short of.
Your tax dollars at work.
All right, so
Okay, if there aren't any questions, I'll attend a motion.
To adopt as amended. Actually, did we change it? Yeah, we changed the amount, yeah, as amended,
the what? The amount of what?
the bond amount. Oh, no, we didn't change it.
No, we didn't.
Change anything.
We didn't change anything.
Not with the bond.
No.
No, we left the bond alone.
We discussed things and said to leave it, yeah, I don't think we.
Just leave 'em in.
Adopt as drafted.
Okay.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Opposed? That's unanimous. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous.